Hi, BandannaGramma here, and today I'm just sewing and chatting while I sew. And if you'd like to sit in and hear about what I'm doing, then stay tuned after the intro and I'll tell you. BandannaGramma here, and if you watched my video of my fabric haul, you'll know what this is. I'm making curtains for my windows, my long windows on the front of my house, and I just got the top of one done, and I'm going to flip it around and put a hem in it. These are not fancy curtains. These are plain and simple shears. No fancy sewing here. I'm just turning and stitching, and that's about it. The top one I turned over the edge, and then, you know, like a 1/4 inch to hem it, and then I folded it down 2 inches and stitched it to the fabric. I'm putting a dowel stick through the top as a curtain rod, and then I stitched down the 1 inch mark between those 2 inches of the hem, so that the top part will be like a ruffle and the bottom part the stick will go through. So now I'm on the bottom, and I'm going to turn this twice. Once just to tack it down. I'm using a zigzag because this material is a little bit stretchy, and the give is a lot nicer if you put a zigzag in it instead of putting a straight stitch and maybe pulling on it. So I'm just folding this over maybe a 1/4 inch, eyeballing it. Nobody's going to look at my curtains and get out the measuring tape, and when they're hanging, nobody's going to be able to tell if it's a tiny bit off, so I ain't worried about it. And today is Tuesday and Thanksgiving is Thursday, and I really got to get this done and up on the windows so they're covered again. The other ones I had bought them at the store, just plain cheap shears. My windows are like 129 inches long, so I couldn't find any long enough that I could afford, or even if I could afford them, I wouldn't want to pay the price they asked. So I took shorter ones and cut off a piece of one and sewed it on the other, but that was many years ago, and they're falling apart now when I wash them. So time for new ones. And when we went up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, to my favorite outlet shop, the Zink's Fabric Outlet in actually Goodville, Pennsylvania, I found this sheer fabric for 49 cents a yard, and it's like 60 inches wide. It's perfect. So I'm just making them a size and gonna put them up on the window, and it'll be fine. I also bought fabric to cover my chairs, and I'm going to show you that as soon as I'm done with this hem, because I got them all done. All 8 chairs have the seats recovered. They look great. I was very happy with them. I'm not an expert sewer by any stretch, but when the kids were growing up, I sewed quite a few of their clothes to save money. Simple patterns. When my oldest, who's now 45, so it was 40 years ago when he was going to kindergarten, I made him overalls and t-shirts. He looked so cute. I made him a little blue and white mini striped train conductor overalls with a little cap. They were really cute. I embroidered things on the bib. Remember, one of them had a lion on the bib. Those were the days. Of course, now I can sew for the grandkids. Last year, I made a pair of pajamas for one of my granddaughters. And I know this year she wants a cape. I'll see if I have time to whip up a cape for her. That shouldn't be too hard. If I can get an idea from her mom about what fabric she'd like and color. When I started sewing when I was, I think about 14. And I made a lot of my clothes when I was 14. I made a lot of bell-bottom pants. And I made a suit and a suit jacket. I think that was 16 when I did that. Remember, my mom would buy me patterns and fabric and teach me how to sew. Those days, the bell bottoms were in, and it was a dropped waist, a low cut, like a hipster type pant. So if I had a pattern that had a set-in waistband, I just ignored that, and I took the top of the pant pattern, and I would just trace along the top 2 inches to make another pattern that would fit around the waistband there, and cut that piece out, stitch it on, flip it over, and tack it, and it made like an interfacing for the hipster pants, and they came out perfect. So I just ignored the waistband and made a facing there, and I had perfect hipster pants. I was cool. Groovy. Okay, almost at the end of this hem. I'm going to flip it again and hem it one more time. I ordered some new feet for my machine. All different kinds of feet to do all kinds of things. I don't know if I'll ever use them. I mean, there were rolled hem stitch feet and pleating feet and all kinds of feet. I could have used a rolled hem foot on this probably. Alright, now I'm going to just turn it one more time, and this time I might try and straight stitch it and see how it goes. Like a 1/4 inch. Now, I'm not going to be able to hang these myself. I have a neighborhood fella that does handiwork for me. And I let him climb up on the ladder because those windows out front are pretty tall. And the ladder's a little precarious out there. And I'm 66 now, and I don't go climbing up on ladders. And my husband would. He's older than I am, and I don't want him to. So I don't tell him. I just call the handyman guy and let him climb up there. Alright, so now a straight stitch to tack down the first turnover. Come on now, don't fight me. This is not going to be perfect, but they don't have to be. Especially with Thanksgiving coming so quick and I have so much to do. Now today I plan on starting the dressing by cutting the bread into cubes. Yeah, I buy white bread and cut it into like 1-inch cubes or 1/2-inch cubes. I'm having 21 over for Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna make a lot of dressing, and I'm making it 4 ways because one of my daughters and her husband are vegan. So they don't have butter or meat or dairy or eggs or anything like that. So if I make the dressing with butter, I need to put some aside and make it with vegan butter for them, which isn't dairy. I could make everybody's with the vegan butter because it's really not bad tasting at all. But I think I'll make the other with butter and then make theirs with the vegan butter. And I like walnuts in my dressing, but 2 of my grandkids are allergic to walnuts or to any tree nuts. So I need to make theirs without nuts. And my future son-in-law, who's coming, is allergic to onions. And we love onions in our dressing. Who doesn't put onions on their dressing? So I need to make some dressing without onions. I'm also going to make vegan Thanksgiving meal for my daughter and son-in-law. And I think I have a video up from last year when I made it. It's a squash that I cut in half and scoop out, and then I stuff it with all the Thanksgiving flavors. And I take brown rice and white beans and finely chopped tofu, and I flavor it with poultry seasoning and onions, celery, the things you'd put in stuffing and turkey and things like that. And then I also put in some dried cranberries, some walnuts, and stuff it and bake it and put vegan butter on top, and they loved it. So, in fact, we had to fight the carnivores off because it really tasted good. I have another daughter who's not a vegetarian or a vegan, but she loves vegetables, so she took some of them home with her. Okay, got a little more than a foot to go here. Another project I like to do is crochet, and I do some knitting. And my husband loves the slippers I make for him. They're well, you might have seen them on the intro to my video, because I think I had one of them there. But they're cuffed slippers, and I knit the body of them, and then I crochet the cuff to them. And he gets a pair of those every Christmas because he just loves them. And I haven't made them yet. So I'm going to be busy with my projects coming up. I just realized you can't see a thing I'm doing. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, that's done. Now, I could hem the sides because that's a raw cut, but you know what? I got too much to do. Thanksgiving's coming too quick. I'm going to leave the edges raw, and if at a later date I want to stitch the edge, I will. Now, let me show you how I fix them with the stick. Now this will be painted white, but right here you might be able to see how I turned it under and then stitched a hem. I put like 2 inches here, and then I did a zigzag across the middle, so there's actually 2 pockets. The stick will go through the bottom pocket, and then this top one will make like a ruffle. So in the stick goes a doll stick, like that. Let's see if I can. All right. And then you just arrange it on here. So you distribute all the, and you see how the top one makes a ruffle because I made a pocket on the bottom with that stitch down the middle. So when they're hung, we just arrange this so it's evenly pleated. And where they're going is on those huge windows right there. They're like 129 inches long. Big windows out front.